Ladies and gentlemen, yes, you're seeing correctly. Ian Torch here. I have my guest, Mr. George Gant, creator of the comic strip Beware of Toddler. Thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And can I get a few congratulations out of the way? Congratulations on you're about to release your 200th strip. And also congratulations on that award you won against some heavy competition, mostly action, adventure, and superhero comics. And you came out on top. Is that correct, or am I getting my stats wrong?
It was webcomic and comic strips. I don't know, the categories were a bit there weren't many, but like it was easy to confuse the two. But it was just like web comics and comic strip because they were kind of lumped in. But yeah, it was an exciting time. Like I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm kind of surprised that I won. Um, I was worried that I wouldn't win, but I'm surprised that I won. But yeah, man, it was a really great experience.
Very cool. It's so weird to see the evolution of comics within certain groups. Growing up, there was Curtis, and then the Boondocks when I was a young adult, and now Beware of Toddler. And that's really cool seeing different groups getting a little more exposure. I mean, how was it for you growing up, like becoming a creator?
For me, it was like when I came into this, I'm an '80s kid, so I came into like the Ninja Turtles and like Calvin and Hobbes and Bloom County, and there was Curtis and there was Peanuts and Garfield. But for me, like it was Calvin and Hobbes. It was kind of like the thing, like the spark. Um, I came across just like all of these books, um, and other kids are like outside playing and things like that. I'm in the house reading Calvin and Hobbes, um, or playing Nintendo, of course, but reading Calvin and Hobbes, and just like when those things came around, like that in Turtles, that was like around the same time I caught like the drawing bug. So I wanted to do this. Didn't really expect much to come of it, but I just knew, that I thought this was like the coolest thing. I want to draw. I'd want to learn to draw. I want to draw cartoons because I thought cartoons was just like everything, again, outside of Nintendo. Um, but yeah.
Very cool, very cool. So, was there a particular artist or a product that really got you going? Like, was Bruce Timm your inspiration? You brought up Ninja Turtles. Did you try to recreate the Ninja Turtles or make your own?
Um, it wasn't like a specific artist because like back then there was pretty much the '87 series, which did it. That was before I really had a chance to like check out the books. Like I was a small kid. No one was going to buy me those books because those back then that was back when the animated series was like the beginning of like the all ages Turtles content. So I didn't have like any specific creators that I was influenced by back then. But it was the work itself which really did it for me.
Okay. You referenced being an 80s kid. What were some of the actual like animated cartoons that caught your eye? Were you big into Captain Planet? Did you like Cops and Crooks or Cops over here in the States?
I was well, Turtles, of course. That was like number one. Number one. I like Garfield and Friends. I was always more into like the humor side and less the action side. Like I didn't really get into like the action stuff until I got older. Like and that started with like Power Rangers. Um, but Garfield and Friends, Looney Tunes, uh, Looney Tunes. I wasn't really a big Disney kid. Um, The Simpsons to a point, when I was actually like allowed to watch The Simpsons because back then The Simpsons was like, you can't watch that because it's bad for you, and now The Simpsons just like became this thing on
That's what
TV.
babysitters use. You're not watching South Park, you're watching The Simpsons tonight.
Exactly, exactly. Like, man, '80s was such a weird time. But yeah, like all the like the silly cartoon things, like that was my stuff, like Tom and Jerry, and because even being from the '80s, the stuff beforehand was always on TV. So that was my stuff. Like Tiny Toon Adventures, shortly after that, going into like Animaniacs and Freakazoid and things like that. I was always into like the funny stuff for the most part.
Your product certainly does show you've got a funny bone. Now,
Thank you. I try.
otherwise it wouldn't be a funny strip, would it? Uh, so obviously you got the drawing bug early on. Did you just stick to being self-taught, or did you actually go through art classes growing up, going through school?
A bit of both. I would say that it was like 95% self-taught, 5% school. I took an art class like over the summer at like the Art Institute. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. So when I was like 9, like my mom uh signed me up for this art class like over the summer. And outside of that, if I see it, I'm going to, emulate it. I'm going to try to draw like this. And yeah. And then, when it came to actual formal training, like formal education, most of my art related things were more like on the graphic side, like, graphic design and things like that. Um, and as far as the actual art side of things, it was just, if I see it, I'm going to try to emulate it until it got to the point where I wanted to, try to develop my own style and develop my own things.
Oh, excellent. When you are at your table or desk or tablet, however you're handling it, do you have a soundtrack that you turn to, or do you prefer to keep it silent so you've got the dialogue in your head and that's all you hear?
It depends on it depends on like my mood and the time of the day. I know like a lot of creators, they like to work in the middle of the night, and that's when they feel the most creative. For me, for some weird reason, it's always like mid morning. Like whenever like when my kids are at school, that's when I feel the most productive. And I'll usually listen to I'm a big hip hop guy, so I'll listen to like MF Doom or like De La Soul, uh, smooth music, smooth beats, things like that. Like nothing too crazy and loud. Not in the daytime anyway.
Yeah.
Um, if not that, YouTube, video game videos, because I'm a big game guy. Um, YouTube videos, wrestling related videos because I'm a wrestling guy too. Um, and that's pretty much like the main three things: hip hop, video game, wrestling.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
cartoons.
so to segue real quick, because you said the magic W word, are you sticking to more of the indie stuff, or are you trying to hang on to the brands?
I have been but funny, I've been WWF slash E guy since the Attitude Era. So I'll catch my shows every week. I try to catch up with AEW as much as I can. Um, I read about Impact, but like I can't ever find you know the time or channel to catch it when it's on.
Yeah.
And I'm available. Um, and the indie stuff, like I'll read up about it, but like going out and like trying to catch an indie show is just like the challenge of a lifetime. Just I got small kids. Just getting out and doing anything is like the challenge of a
Oh,
lifetime.
I mean, hence the title of your comic, Beware of Toddler. Obviously, you might be pulling from some experience.
Just a bit, you
Yeah.
know.
Now, with said strip, are we going to be expecting a sliding time scale? Like, is Beware of Toddler going to be like a 20-year thing, or will it gradually evolve into Beware of Teenager?
What I wanted to do was to try to keep it within like the toddler age range as long as I can. Uh, my thought process is a lot of people that come to the comic, they come to the comic because they have toddlers and they can relate to the stories. People are always going to make babies. There will always be toddlers. So it would only make sense to keep it that way. While at the same time, because the comic in my mind follows like the Tom and Jerry Simpsons path to where I feel like if I wanted to do like one off in a different time period, I could always do that. Like if I wanted to show like the Tyler as a teenager, and I've done this before, I could do so just like as a one off and always just come back to, the main time in which, she's two.
Okay. I mean, we were hoping for something like that, but you're the creator. So, do you ever have time to like work out or just just take a day off in between kids and the strip, or is it usually just kind of a balancing act for you?
It's a balancing act. I mean, I feel like I try to take time off. I mean, you kind of have to because if you're just working all the time, like that's just not good for you, you know?
We're
Um,
all learning
but
this.
yeah, whether we like it or not, we're learning. There's an easy way to learn and it's a hard way. And unfortunately, I learned the hard way a couple years ago. Um, with me, I balance like this comic and I balance another comic called Angel Face Investigates for the Beano. That's a weekly newspaper out in the UK. Um, and then I do like freelance things here and there. But if when I'm not doing that, and I'm not like with family things like that, I play video games. I'm a gamer at heart, so I am like knee deep into like right now I'm doing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Um, really good. After that, I'm going to try to go through Resident Evil 4, and then Street Fighter 6 comes out next week. So like
Oh
I'm very
God,
much like
yeah.
up
Oh,
to date with that. And then they just announced the new Mortal Kombat, and then
yeah.
Tekken 8 is on the horizon. Like, despite like I've got these things to do. You got to work, you got to handle your business. That's how I unwind. Like that's my hobby. You know, and if I'm not doing that, I like to do like gaming and computer related things on the hardware side. Like I'll build a computer for fun,
Oh,
or yeah, man, I love doing that kind of stuff. Like the computer I create my comics with is actually a computer I built myself. So yeah, you got to have that balance. Can't survive without it.
very true, very true. So obviously, big fighter, big action gamer. Do you do like first person shooters at all?
Yes, I every year I tell myself I'm not going to buy Call of Duty.
Oh, I have
I
so many friends who say that same thing.
I have every mainline Call of Duty title except I think the first one, and I think I sold that back in the day. So yeah, so that's a lie I tell myself every year. But I'll do Call of Duty. I was doing Destiny for a while. That was just hard to keep up with. Halo, I was a big Halo guy for a while. Battlefield, I'm glad they fixed 2042 because it's a lot of fun now.
It took
Yeah,
him a minute.
I'll, it's like well, that's like every game nowadays. It's like this game is going to be great in 6 months.
Ah,
Um,
yes, the No Man's Sky approach.
exactly. That's like the default approach now. Like Redfall came out last month, and I'm telling myself, man, that game is going to be awesome next year. That's when I'm going to play it. But yeah, I try to play all sorts of things. I'll play pretty much any genre. Um, I don't do many MMOs. Like the last one I think I did was DC Universe.
Ah, I love that
Um,
one. They just dropped a milestone focused event going on, like the milestone characters.
I saw I'm gonna have to reinstall. Like it's been years since I played that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So far, they haven't dubbed out Conroy since his passing, so you can still catch
but-
sound bites of him as Batman.
okay. I might have to do that. I might have to get back into it. It's been a while.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's still worth it. The tutorial though is completely different. Where I'm sure you remember in the original when you're escaping Brainiac's lair, whether you're a hero or a villain,
Mhm.
it's you by yourself until you come across Lex or Supes in the main hallway. Now you're
Right.
literally being taken by the hand and Superman or Lex is escorting you and you meet the rest of the crew along the way, which on one end it's like, okay, that's nice, but it takes away from the man, I can hang with these guys because you're a sidekick in your own tutorial until you're finally dropped in the middle of Metropolis. You're like, okay, what can I do? But I mean,
Oh man.
yeah, aside from that, I mean, it's still really cool. But to come across certain characters, it's funny. Like Shazam still has like some of his old lingo, but he also has a new
Mhm.
voice actor doing the more like I'm a teenager trapped in an adult's body instead of literally the big red cheese as they used to call him, where he's just, oh, you're just a big old bully. So that's kind of jarring. But then you come across like Ambush Bug and John Constantine, you're like, oh, they're actually like you're dipping into the world a little bit. They keep hinting at a Doom Patrol thing, and I'm like, if you do it, let me know. I will jump right back in.
Yeah, I've got to play catch up. It's been so long.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still really good. I like how you can mix and match within certain areas of your power set.
Hmm.
They keep it in a nice blanketed area. Like if you control ice, it's you can do ice armor, or you can throw snowballs.
Yeah, I think my character's like all tech based. Was it tech based? Yeah, I think I had a tech based guy.
We all do it. At some point, you're like, I want all the gadgets. Well, the question is, will you play it like Batman or will you play it like Ted Cord Blue Beetle?
Right, right.
Yeah, there you go with that. Have you tried any mobile gaming at all? Like anything off your phone?
Um, Not really. Like I'll do like simple puzzle games. Like I've heard of Marvel Snap. I installed Marvel Snap, but I have not played it yet. It's I I'm not gonna say I can't bring myself to play games like that on my phone, but I've got a Switch and a Steam Deck, so it's kind of hard to say, hey, let me load up this when I can, play Zelda or Metroid or whatnot. It's
Yeah, good point. And I mean, with a Steam Deck, that makes any game almost a mobile game.
yeah, yeah, mostly. For me, I just most of my older games, I just played it on. I think I got it because it came out like around like my last birthday, and I wanted to have something cool for my birthday, so and the Steam Deck was like around that time, so here we go. Bought it. I play it from time to time. I think my Switch may get more love now just because of the Nintendo stuff and whatnot, and yeah.
Okay, so dream sequence mode, it's 5 years down the line. Beware of Toddler has caught on for positive reasons for this scenario. And the media hounds are a knocking. Your option, take it to the next level. Is it going to be a show? Is it going to be, a podcast? What could a dream scenario for Beware of Toddler be?
Okay, so for me, and I have thought about this way too much. Uh, um, I think that an animated show would be the most natural thing way to go. Kind of like like an old Tom and Jerry type thing, like a modern take on like the Tom and Jerry formula, where you have like 11-minute segments, with self-contained stories. Um, Begins and ends almost the exact same way, like a Pinky and the Brain type thing. I think that would fit well with Tyler. And I know a lot of creators say that I don't want my shows to be on TV or things like that. I just want to make comics and whatnot. And and I get that and I respect that. But for me and for Tyler, there's a lot that I would like to do that I don't think I can do in the space of a comic. You know,
Oh, yeah.
um, mostly like in relation to like sound and like sound things, sound timing, um, sound direction. I think there's like some cool things that I think will work really well with the cartoon itself with the characters that will not work, within 4 or 5 panels.
I could just imagine your animation team having a field day with your style because it seems very. I'm not gonna say limited. I'm gonna say s- streamlined, very smooth. Like,
Doesn't feel like that to me.
well, yeah. I mean, you're the one hunched over the table. Visually, for
Oh man,
us for us without that skill, it appears as though it seems very very smooth. And with how many that you've put out, I would assume you've probably gotten a little easier with your design. You don't have to worry about, okay, his shirt goes this far down with sleeve length and such.
yeah, I think I'm finally starting to get it. When I first launched the comic, like I just drew that first comic, I just drew on a whim. It wasn't like planned. Um, but like my real life daughter did something funny, so I just made a comic of it. And when I just put it out, I just put it up on my Facebook page, and it just kind of blew up. Well, I mean, blew up for me, you know. So I didn't really have a style. It was just something that I just did on a whim, and over time, I think just now, like over the last year or so, um, I've finally started to figure out the style. And yeah, it looks slick, streamlined, and it looks simple, but I don't know. I struggle. I'm still struggling even like to this day. It's been 4 years and I'm still struggling. I'm sure it'll get even more streamlined over time. Um, but I'm working on it. I'm trying.
Well, you certainly look like you're having a ball for sure. That's part of the point, right? Like, if you're not enjoying it, then why keep up?
Oh no, I agree wholeheartedly. It's it's not. I've had previous comics before that, and that's pretty much why I'm not drawing those comics now. You've got to enjoy it. Because if you don't, it feels like you're wasting your time because you're doing something that you don't enjoy. And B, I think that if you're not enjoying what you're doing, that shows up in the work itself. And like if you're drawing a comic and you slogged over, you're not really enjoying what you're doing and you feel like it's a chore, the comic will feel like a chore to read, even if it's very short. So I try to have fun with it, best you can. I mean, if you're tired, but I try to enjoy it the best I can because I know that if I do, then the people reading it would enjoy it more so than if I wasn't enjoying myself creating this thing.
Very true, very true. Now, segue back, you mentioned a secondary strip you're working on for the Beano in the UK. What is that called again?
Oh, it's called Angel Face Investigates, and the gist of it is the main character, her name is Angel Face, and she was well. here's a bit more backstory. With the Beano comics, their main character, his name is Dennis. It's called Dennis the Menace. So just like our Dennis the Menace. And if you think that's crazy, they both debuted on the exact same day. Yeah,
Okay.
complete coincidence. So so this character Dennis had a rival named Angel Face. He was kind of a villainous type character in the strip beforehand. And they decided to reboot the strip, and they brought me on. And this time, the character is a detective, and she's good now, um, and she's a detective, but she still kind of walks that line, but all in the it's still very much kids comic in a silly, goofy manner.
Like a Carmen San
But it's
Diego type.
yeah, 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 yeah. If you can take like Carmen, yeah, exactly, like Carmen San Diego. Um, you can take like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. If you take like Bart Simpson, like and just kind of like mash them up, that's pretty much what you have.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, you obviously it's still kid friendly, but like how much peril is she getting into in these scenarios?
Like,
Or
oh,
or is it
like
just trouble?
it's just trouble. It's more like I'll solve this crime for you, but I want to get paid. Like I want to get paid. I want cookies. I want well over there biscuits. Um, and yeah, this is more like an opportunities.
Okay.
It's more like an opportunistic character where like she's doing it to get paid, pretty much.
Okay. Fascinating. All right. Is there a website for that, or would we have to like order the Beano to get our hands on this?
Well, we do have access to the website. I haven't seen any of my comics up there yet. Like because like the Beano's huge. It's I believe it's like the longest running children's comics magazine in the UK. Like they've been around like forever. Um, we don't get any of the print magazines here. Like any of the ones that I've seen, I've ordered and had them shipped out. But the website is up and it's like straight kid stuff, and it's pretty neat stuff. Um, and you can check out the stuff there. Hopefully, my comics will show up there. But if you're out in the UK and you read the Beano, I've got comics showing up there every Wednesday.
That's really cool. I mean, getting noticed across the pond. I mean, it's big enough just getting noticed in the States, but to have a totally different audience with a totally different uh, view when it comes to comedy, action, drama, things like that. That's taking huge steps.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I don't think it really hit me like how neat it was until I told people about it because like I've been doing this for like 2 years and I didn't tell anybody until like about a year ago. Like no, like a few months ago, and I was like, "So, by the way, I've been working on this comic for the last 2 years." And everyone's like, "You've been holding out? You realize how big that is?" And I'm thinking, like, "Yeah, but I also have this comic here that I created. Yeah, but this is massive." So, like, it didn't really hit me until that happened that how important that what I'm doing is, especially considering I don't know how many creators from the States are working on these legendary characters over there.
That is true. So, gonna stick on Angel Face for a moment. Okay, due to the colloquial differences in dialogue, are you writing the dialogue as well, or are you only doing the graphic art?
Oh, no, it's just the art. The comics are written. I read the scripts every week, and that's the thing about the comic being over there. There is nothing in those strips that could not work well here.
Okay.
Like nothing. Like very little editing would need to be made. Like so little. change biscuits to cookies, losing the letter U in a few words. That's like it. Like in my opinion, there's no reason that we can't see those books here.
Okay. Hey, I mean, you stick around long enough, maybe you can get some pull and go, hey, could we just drop a collection just over here in the States every once in a while?
Yeah, I think I may actually bring that to their attention because I think that would be pretty cool. Like my son reads them, like the books that I have, and whenever I'm doing a comic, because I see the scripts and I get like little sketches of the scripts, I'll print them out and he'll just read them. Um, like this unfinished art, and he doesn't even care that the art isn't finished, or if I'm actually drawing them, and he's just reading them as I'm drawing them, and he's like into it. So yeah, maybe I should bring it to their attention. At the
Hey,
very least, I can ask them like, why aren't we getting these books anymore? Because I think they were here at one point.
oh, I know back in the day, 2000 AD got reprints over here through a couple of like indie publishers back in the day. So it was cool stumbling upon Judge Dredd. And then like DC Comics actually had it for like a year, I think. And they had their own original stuff, which was very interesting because you go back and you read like the works of Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, how they would approach the character. And then you see how we do it. You're like, oh, I mean, on paper, it's a great idea. In practice, ouch. Did they study the material at all? Did they know the assignment, as the kids are saying? It was
Right,
like
right,
like we do Judge Dredd like he's Dirty Harry. Over there, he's more of like, to use D&D terms, he's lawful neutral.
right.
Where we look at him as almost like chaotic law, which shouldn't exist because it's going to just blow the guy's car up. Yeah, it's going to take out 3 city blocks. Why would you do that?
No,
Like
exactly.
that. That's
I think
that's It was not the
yeah.
concept. But no, that's still very cool that you're getting noticed over the pond as well with some of your work. Uh, as a well, as a black creator, has it been difficult? Like, was the reason to go with a web comic because you had an uphill battle, or did you just choose web comic immediately? Like, no one shut a door, you just said this is where I'm going.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with me. Because when I started webcomics just in general, because this is like year 17 of me trying webcomics out. Um, it was like around the time where Penny Arcade, like all of those comics were coming about,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and I just felt like, and after that, I wasn't drawing for a while. Like after like high school, like I went to high school, I did like editorials and things like that for a school paper. I did really well, won some awards there, but after high school, I just stopped drawing. You know how it is. Like you're out of school, like you don't really know what you want to do. I was going to school for graphic design, so I wasn't really thinking about comics. And then you get a job, and once you start working, whatever hobbies you had kind of go fall to the wayside while you're trying to figure things out. So it was like that for a while, and I eventually like left school and went back to school. And I was working, and I realized that I didn't really want to do what I was doing. And I was just working at Starbucks. It wasn't like any major thing, but I was at Starbucks. I was in management, and I around the time Penny Arcade came about, the Boondocks show was starting, and I was aware of the comic strip, and I thought, you know, let me try. I've always been into comics. Let me try. Let me see. Maybe this could be a thing. Maybe this could not be a thing. Um, Unfortunately, like back then, I fell into that trap of thinking I'm going to create comics, and this is going to make me famous and make me a lot of money. And I was an idiot, and I was in my 20s, you know? And obviously, when you do that, you do it for the wrong reasons because, again, your art will suffer, as I've learned. Um, but because it was just that time of that era, I just felt like webcomics would have been the way to go.
Okay. All right. Uh, do you have any advice for young creators of any background, just in general, someone's wanting to get into comics? What would some of your advice be, whether it be your Ten Commandments or however you want to handle it?
Well, I always like to tell people that if you want to make a comic, that you do two, well, first you make the comic, and then after you make the comic, you learn how to make comics. Because I see a lot of like young creators like just planning and plotting and talking about what they want to do and talking about their comic ideas and their characters and I don't I want to show my character, but do I need to get a copyright? I don't want people to steal my ideas. And the idea would be like another Spider-Man, pretty much. So I think that like for young creators, just jump in the deep part, and just make a comic. Even if you don't know how, make the comic, and then figure it out later. 'Cause that's what I did. I just started making comics. You know, did I figured it out later. You know, year 17, I'm still figuring it out. I'm like now I'm more of a student and things like that. I've been like studying more creators like Walt Kelly and things like that and the like. But back then, I was just making things and I didn't know what I was doing. And then I think to just if you do first, you won't spend years talking about what you're going to do and wasting those years not doing.
Okay. Very, very punk rock way of doing it, but so that's for sure. Okay. What cons have you gone to where you've had like the best experience? Or in general, like con experiences. You had to have gone to a few by now.
Oh yeah, I've been doing cons for about 10 years now. My favorite experience is just like year in and year out is C2E2. It's the largest show that I attend nearly every year. I've tabled there 4 times. I didn't get the table this year. I got in, um, but I wasn't able to attend. But I was as a you know as an attendee, I did this. I like Walker Hall. That was about it. But C2E2 is always a great show. It's huge. It's here in Chicago. It's like 30 minutes from my house, so that helps. Other than that, I did a show in Denver. That was an amazing experience because that was like the first time I traveled to a con. Um, and then outside of that, small shows like library shows and things like that. Those are always fun, because they aren't overwhelming. But the experience is still comparable to like a big show.
Because the energy's still got to be there. Like these people are finally getting a chance to meet their creators, so you still get that not butterfly, that buzz. You still get that buzz from it.
Yeah, like you still get it. The cosplayers still show up. Um, it's and you're not hurting your feet. You're not walking through crowds of people. But you still got you still got the energy. You still got that buzz. I know a lot of creators don't want to do small shows because they think they're not going to make money. Oh, and you still make money. Um, but I think I recommend do the small shows as much as the big shows.
Okay. All right. Another funny little hypothetical. You're doing a con. Beware of Toddler has gotten noticed more and more. Someone comes up and shows you a tattoo of one of your characters. Like, how would that make you feel?
Honored, but it would feel a little weird at first. Um, because the comic was originally directly influenced by my own life, and the characters, like to a point, still resemble what myself and my child looked like at the time. So it'd be kind of weird, especially like if it's like a Tyler character. It would almost feel like, why do you have a drawing of my daughter on your arm? God, I hope it's the arm. But at the same time, you know, if someone takes the time and the money to have that permanently put on them, they feel some way about the comic to the point where they feel comfortable doing so. So, like, do I even have a right to feel weird? No, I should feel honored. That's a huge honor. At the same time,
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. I started thinking about that. I've got friends working on comics, and they're like, dude, it's official. It finally happened. I had a fan come up. Boom, they got my ink on them. But of course, it's always like their insignia, the character's brand or whatever. So, like, what would it be for a comic strip? Because I've seen Snoopy tattoos like since I was a kid, but this would have to be a little more personal.
I think, um, yeah, I mean, with Tyler, I can see it not so much being the characters. I can see props, like props from the comics because the Tyler loves her juice. So I can see like her juice box or something like that, or her stuffed animals. Um, I can see that too. And I would never just downright be like upset if somebody came to me with a Tyler tattoo. That is really a high honor. It would just take a second to like I would need like a second to just like realize like to kind of adjust, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then I'd be like, then you think they took the time and they took the money to do this. That is incredible, you know?
Well, okay. Speaking of comics and such, any big summer films you're getting ready for, or anything you haven't gotten to see yet that you want to?
Yes. I'm like we are already planning like my family we were planning Spider-Verse. That was like the big no-brainer. Spider-Verse and Transformers.
Oh yeah.
Um yeah, like we're big fans of those franchises. Me, Turtles.
Oh
Turtles and
yes.
August.
Yes.
Um I cannot wait for that. Um on the fence with the Flash. Like I everyone like all the previews are saying that it's incredible, but like all the behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
makes it like
Yeah.
could you imagine like it would have to be like very like just like the greatest movie of all time to go into that show and not think about that stuff. Um and but like if it's good, it's good. I just don't know what to do when that time comes.
Yeah, it's one of those love the art, hate the artist kind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like when people talk about the work of Lovecraft, they only talk about the work, they don't talk about him.
Yeah, all the other stuff. No, sir. And yeah, that's like the hardest thing to come to grips with. And not even so much with that movie or things like that. Like for example, me growing up, and I can say this, I was a huge fan of Kanye West. We were from same areas, same age group, coming from the same areas of the same city. So, you can kind of feel something like in relation to that. I won't buy anything that he makes now. like, you have to cut yourself off for that because I think there's a limit. You can separate the art from the artist to a point. It's just a matter of finding out what that point is.
Yeah. I was like when I came across Holy Terror, I was like, you know what, Frank? I don't think this is gonna work anymore.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's tough when you know when it's someone that you've enjoyed in the past. That's that's a really tough pill to swallow. But I mean, it is what it is.
Unfortunately. But hopefully other things will stick around and be our pillow, for lack of a better term. You know, got
Yes.
actually got to meet Kevin Eastman uh, several years ago. Still a really cool guy. Did not know he was the head editor of Heavy Metal for a hot minute. So interesting that,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting that
Yeah.
how he came along.
I missed my chance to meet him this year, and I'm kicking myself because I don't want to meet many people, but that's one that I would have loved to have met. And I was there, and I was in the same building with them, and for some reason I forgot that he was there. And then after a weekend, I was like, oh yeah, he was there. So I'm kicking myself over that one because that's one I would like to meet for sure.
Yeah, I once had an accidental meeting with Rob Liefeld, or more along the lines of I was coming across his table as he was doing some inking for a charity piece. And I was like, man, this guy's really putting in some effort, especially around the feet. And then I just glanced glanced a little over his shoulder and went, oh my God, that's Rob Liefeld. And I did everything I could. I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. But but I noticed his pen kind of stopped and he was about to turn back and I was like, and that's my cue. I'm gonna leave now. He's in the zone. I'm gonna leave him to do his thing.
Like, let him do his thing. Like whatever you have to say, like I'm sure he knows he's all right. He's doing it for charity, so that's always good. Yeah.
But yeah, nothing like the accidental meetings of celebrities. I once accidentally shoulder checked Danny Trejo on the street one time, and I knew I was in the wrong. I was on my phone. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to my mom. Popped him in the shoulder, and I went to turn to address it, but not like confrontation. Like I was actually going to own up to it. And if I wasn't sorry then, I was very sorry afterwards. And literally, like in a movie, just I'll talk to you later, mom. I love you. Click. Uh,
Oh man, that sounds like an awesome one though. Like I met Sarah Jessica Parker. Oh, I didn't so much meet her as I was working at Starbucks and she came into my store and everybody in the store was flipping out because it was like half the cast of Sex and the City, and I didn't know that. I wasn't paying attention to that, and I was her cashier. So I'm sitting there, like, giving her changes and things like that, like actual, human interaction with Sarah Jessica Parker. And I didn't realize that until after it was all done. I was like, well, okay, yay, I have a story to tell.
oh yeah,
So, yeah, that was like my big one, I believe.
yeah. Getting to valet Jerry Lawler's car was very cool. I was working.
Oh, yeah, I met him too.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great tipper. Ended up, I was
Yeah.
working at a hotel third shift. Get a phone call about 4 in the morning. Yeah, I'm in room. It's like I actually think it was room 316. As a matter of fact, at least one of them had
Wow.
at least one of them had 316. I kid you not. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be down 10 minutes. I would like my car. I've got my ticket if I need it. And pull it up. Pulled out the key. Didn't even think about it. And got in the car. Pulled it up. 9 times out of 10, these people say they'll be down 10 minutes. You're waiting half an hour. 10 minutes later, he is down there. He's got two guys with him, and it's Jerry Lawler. And I'm just like, I know who he is. I am not going to make a huge deal about it because it is 4:15 in the morning, and he clearly needs to leave. And look, car's running as he asked because he said, please leave it running. Okay, doors unlocked, windows rolled down, and he's there. And oddly enough, looks better than he did on TV at the time. I guess whatever makeup they use on him just does not work well with HD. But but yeah, no, he was like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. His two guys are just dragging behind him, and I was like, "Here you go." It's like, Mr. Lawler, is it? You can call me Jerry. And he tips me. He tips me, and he gives me the Vegas style. So it's like both hands, light grip, and I feel the bill. I just pocket it, and he just stands there. He looks back and forth at those guys, and he goes, "Well, tip the man." And they're scrambling in their pockets, and then they hand me. I pocket it. It says, "You have a good day now. Do you need tickets?" Like, I'm probably gonna sleep. He was like, "Damn shame." And
Oh man, that is awesome.
everyone else started rolling out, and he personally gave me 30, and then the other two, so I was like, made $50 off these guys. Holy cow!
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, treat me like a person. It wasn't like, oh yes, here, yes, you fetch my car. So
Yeah, mine was like super brief. Brief. It was at a C2E2. I was just walking next to him. That's all. I was like, hope you had a good show. He was like, thanks. That was it.
yeah, no, he's one of the ones that's just very very friendly. He will talk business with you if you're polite about it. You don't just sit down in front of him and start talking about his history. But yeah, like, treat him like a human. He treats you like one too.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think I've eaten up more than enough of your time. Thank you for coming on. And
Man, that felt brief. Oh, dude, it's 1 o'clock. Oh wow.
yeah, just about. So remember, folks, to like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell to stay notified. And of course, Beware of Toddler. It is a website. He does have a website for it. You can also find it on Instagram. That's actually where I found you. And you also said Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook, Instagram, and if you are a subscriber of Comics Kingdom, because Beware Toddler is a part of King Features now, you can read it there. It is in a couple of newspapers, but I don't know exactly which ones. I've been too afraid to ask. But
I was going to say, you're the creator. They should have you. They should have you in the know.
like yeah, the syndication thing is like very much new to me. I'm still like trying to figure it out. But it is on Comics Kingdom as well. So if you're a Comics Kingdom person, you subscribe. We've got tons of great comics there. Curtis is there. Popeye is there, and Tyler's there as well. So you can that's where the new stuff is every Sunday.
Very cool. Well, you heard it here first. Once again, like, share, subscribe, ring that bell to stay notified, share it with anyone you know. I've been Ian Torch. My guest in the hot seat today was George Gant, and now the hot seat is burnt out.
Egoist and selfish lover, foolish creeper like no other. Call you crazy, call you freak. No one likes you but me.